be silent no more.
Whether it's the developed world or the developing world, women have faced abuse no matter where they reside. Sometimes it's abuse by people close to you, marital abuse, or sometimes it's when you're at work, or sometimes it could be abuse inflicted by society, by complete strangers, gaslighting, or whatever name you might give it. Abuse against women is as ancient as our civilization. This program is dedicated to all those women who have faced abuse in any form, whether it's from strangers or their own near and dear ones. The grit and determination they have shown and gotten up after the fall and preserved themselves for better things. I have with me today a woman who has suffered abuse and had the courage to document it in a book. It's called Leaving, and it's about her struggle with her marital abuse. And she joins me now from Chicago.
So, let me start by saying how I was brought up in a very progressive environment. I was born in New Delhi in India, and my parents were very modern, and they were typical partners to each other, even in that traditional society at the time. They were they cherished their relationship, and it was a very blissful environment where I was brought up. Time for marriage came, and I got into an arranged marriage. And the person that I was marrying was a very deceptively charming man, a bright person, but soon after marriage, he changed his colors, and I could see his true self. The first time that he hit me, within the 3 weeks of marriage, my life turned upside down, and I was pretty lost. I was shocked, rather, and numb, and I didn't know what to do. I was barely 23 years old. I was 22 when we got engaged, and you know how in India we typically, in a very conservative environment of India, I'm saying on the whole, we are pretty naive in that sense of, we are very simple girls, we don't know the ways of the world.
Absolutely. And it was an arranged marriage, so that made it work.
Yeah, true. And I lived away from my parents. He was living like 500 kilometers away from where New Delhi is. So I was far away, and I had no source to call my parents or tell them, or, I just kept it within myself. The first time that happened, but the next morning he came, and like a typical classic case, he would uh, cry in my feet and say, sorry, I would never do that again, it just happened, and all of that. And I said, okay, maybe it just happened, maybe he didn't mean to do it, maybe he got angry because he had a few drinks and stuff like that. And I gave him a chance to do it the second time, because when I pardoned him from that, he got a chance to do it second time and the third time, and it never ended after that. But soon after our marriage, I was blessed with my daughter within 11 months of my marriage, and the twin boys came soon thereafter. So with the 3 children, it became very tough for me. I did not speak up as I should have, which I always now is suggesting to people when I'm talking to them that they should speak up. But it was different at my time. I did not want to give stress to my parents. I did not want my dad to worry about me as to how and what we should do. So I kept on with that life. But I soon realized that what is the fault of these 3 children having given to me? They need to be looked after the way I was looked after. So I soon started to look for freedom from a typical victim mentality. I had to change and come back to a survivor mode, and that is what I did exactly. with my faith in universe, I had a few angels come in life and some mentors who gave me the direction, and I followed those directions. I took the challenge, and I actually very structurally built a roadmap for myself to fill the gaps to where I wanted to be and where I was today. So the first thing that I did was to become financially independent and so on. So I started to take those steps. I could not escape also because the law in India at the time was not on my side. They would not protect a woman being hit by the husband. Their question was also always that if he's drinking, he's not committing a crime. They would never say how much is the limit of drinking. And if he hits you, then what do you do to him that he hits you? So they were very odd, harassing questions that were asked. And the divorce attorneys will always tell me that if I file for a divorce, first of all, it was a big deal that a woman was filing for a divorce. Like a woman is not supposed to be filing for a divorce. It's a man's prerogative. And if you file for a divorce, then the children will be divided. You will not have custody of all the three children. And that was not acceptable to me. So that was the whole issue, that I had to live with him for very long. I lived with him for 23 years.
Must have
And
been
then,
very tough,
yeah.
very tough.
And I got divorced in 2003. Obviously, I, by that time, had moved to US. And here it was much easier. We just had to wait for 3 months, and that's all. And I got the divorce. He came with me, and if you read my story, you will understand why he came with me or why he had to be brought here with me, because I had to come to a very strange country, I mean strange place, I would say, which I had never visited before, and three children and all that. So he came with me, just to kind of look for a place and where we are going to live, etc. And then I had bought a return ticket for him, thinking that he will go back. I mean, that was the whole plan, that I came to US thinking that I will escape him. um, but he went back on the return ticket, but came back soon after, and he said he's going to live here too. So then I filed for divorce. Then we both talked about it, and he agreed for a mutual divorce, only because he knew that his status in US was only because I came on an L1A visa. So he could stay here only if I kind of, agreed with it. So I started my financial goal to become independent way back in 1987. So I got married in 1980, and for 7 years, I mean, the three children were there, and the whole uh, thing was going on. It was a lot of torment, and a lot of torture was happening. But in 87, I got into a job. Initially it was a very low paid teacher's job, but very soon I got into the corporate world because of my education. I'm an MSW and have a personal management certification. So I got into the corporate world very luckily, again with my faith, and all everything that has happened throughout my journey is my faith. I just owe it to the higher power and the power of the universe. I just say it is because of that. But obviously I myself had to become strong, and that I did. So the three things that I did to cover the whole gap of becoming free was belief in self, belief in universe, and belief in the higher power. These are the three tools that have really helped me to get out of the trap.
How did your children take it, Kanchan? What was their reaction? Was it heartbreaking? Were they for it? Were they with you?
Yeah, so Sunita, it was part of my roadmap. The milestones that I covered was to get financially independent and then send children to the boarding school, because I did not want them to stay with me in that toxic environment and become sociopaths in life. How children of broken families they become. So I sent them away to a boarding school. So my boys were not at home. My daughter came back within 1 year from the boarding school saying that, Mom, I can't leave you alone. So she came back. She was 13 at the time, and my boys were 10 years old when they went to boarding school, and they stayed there till the time we came to US. So they did not see with their eyes what was going on. uh, Me and my daughter made a pact that we will not share with them, only because again, we didn't want them to have any psychological dents in their minds. So they kind of knew, but silently, like in their own way, that our mother was being hit and she was not being respected and things were going on. But it never came from my mouth or my daughter's mouth.
Right.
uh, yeah, but my daughter saw everything, so she was highly impacted, I would say. Whereas my sons, not so much.
So where's your what's your story now? Where are you at right now?
So, Sunita, I mean, again, I would say that since I built a lot of resilience and empowerment came to me slowly when I became very independent in job and gained the confidence and strength, and the whole transformation happened and I became a survivor. After that, I did not stop and I kept on my journey. I stepped into spirituality wholeheartedly, which doesn't mean that I become a saint or something. I just meditate for some time and just have gratitude for God and have acceptance and forgiveness in my head. So now I feel I'm a thriver. I've thrived. My children are thriving. We are very happy. I'm at a very joyful place in my life, and I'm living life all on my own terms. I do what I want. I'm, pretty independent, and I feel totally liberated as far as my life is concerned.
What would you say to the socio-cultural environment in Chicago or in the US? Because in Canada, I feel, you're a woman who's gone through a lot of marital turmoil, but there are also women who go through a lot of abuse at the hands of society. Here there is there is something called gaslighting. Women are targeted, especially if you're a Hindu woman, or you're a radical woman, radical in terms of a lifestyle that is different from the normal conventional woman. What would you say is the socio-cultural basis of in the place where you're living? Do you find that very different, or?
So, you know what? I would say, first of all, the law is quite strict. So I find there is not a lot of physical abuse going on. There's a lot of emotional abuse because of narcissism, typical narcissism of men. And even men, for that matter, are being emotionally abused by their partners. So the numbers here are pretty grave. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men are subjected to domestic abuse once in their lifetime. And the number is almost similar throughout the globe. So even Canada, for that matter, or India, or you name it, in any country, the numbers are almost the same. So I think the society, first of all, needs to be aware of the gravity of the situation. This pandemic has spread everywhere, and the society is not ready to. I wouldn't say ready to listen, but they are not aware of that number. I feel that strongly. Till now, this subject has been a taboo, and it remains to be a taboo in society. It's still behind the closed doors. So I think the victims have to speak up, and the survivors have to come out. After they survive, they have to step up. They have to come out in different organizations, through different platforms. The NGOs, the government, the other corporations have to give a platform to these survivors to come out and share their stories of victory.
Do you think that's happening? Is that happening? Do you think women are coming out, especially Indian women in the US or Canada? They're not coming out with their story.
No, we want to come out, but then we don't get that platform. like you're interviewing me today, I have certain other podcasts. Like I did a lot of podcasts, but mostly the podcasts have been done like women like you who want to work with other women and support them. It's not the corporates, it's not the NGOs, it's not at the the government or the big clubs level or the churches where we can go and talk about our victories, where the society listens to us, and they can become stronger through the tools that we have used. Not only that, the society which uh, is not aware of the dynamics, and they do not listen to the victim. So the victims.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You see, the problem in Canada, the laws, I don't know, the laws are not as stringent or as tight as they are in the US. What I have come across is that as long as you have somebody saying, okay, my husband did this, my husband did that, they'll take you to a shelter or they'll have a crisis team. But I see that there is another kind of, Kanchan, you won't believe it, but there's another kind of crime that's hitting these countries or is hidden in the belly of these countries, which is societal crime towards women. Because ours is a multicultural society in Canada, you have Indian women or Hindu women or Muslim women being targeted. And most of the time, if you go to the police or you go to a doctor, they will keep quiet, they will keep mum. Even the system itself is so silent about women's abuse that it's heartbreaking. They tell you you are hallucinating. This has never happened. This man is not stalking you. This is his normal route. You are hallucinating. If you go with an outside person stalking you, and I've gone through this, I've had people stalking me, the same cars. They note your time of leaving the house, note your time of entering the house. But you go to the police, you make complaint after complaint. My car has been vandalized. I've given them photographs, but no action was taken at all. Those people continue to be somewhere around. And I showed them pictures, blood-stained kerchiefs on the. It was not my husband who did it. It was someone else. And they did nothing about it.
Situation is similar here, Sunita.
Really?
I've been hearing about things. I do hear about good things also, but I do hear about the bad things like hard. It's scary. Yeah, the situation is similar. Are being the women are being murdered in spite of restriction orders, in spite of the police knowledge that the husband is beating and his criminal record and everything, but still they are being murdered. I mean, we hear those stories from time to time. So the society can be so helpful in just listening to these women. And if somehow they can provide some information, just telling them, see, there is a shelter in that place, this is the phone number of that shelter, or talk to this person or call this emergency number. But they just shoo away, they don't want to.
You know why, Kanchan? You know what? I think in Canada, what's happening is that they have so much of overflow of refugees that all those government-aided hotels are taken by the refugees, and people who really need refuge, they have nowhere to go. So they
Oh,
continue either to live in fear and
right.
be abused, or they just pack up their bags and leave the country. So
So sad.
it's
Very
really
sad.
trouble. Yeah.
It is very sad. And that is why I keep, women like you and me and so many of us together, we have to raise our voice and be heard, but be listened to, and just help these victims, these women's, society can come together and save so many lives. We are talking about human beings here. And
Absolutely.
we talk of so many other things of that we have to save these animals or other animals, but here we are talking about human beings. And they are being they commit suicides, they land into mental asylums for no uh, mistake of theirs. Their children are becoming robbers and sociopaths, and they become murderers or criminals at the end of the day. So it's not only one person that we are not saving, but also the whole family is subjected to torture from the girl's side. And even, I mean, sometimes I think even the perpetrator, for that matter, they're sick people, they need help.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell
Yeah.
me, Kanchan, in the book Leaving, what is the most, can you read something that's really, that you really
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. You know, just a moment, Sunita. You'll have to hold it.
I'll edit it. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't
I did,
take your time.
okay. I didn't think about it. Sorry, I didn't bring the
Take
book.
your time.
Get the book from somewhere. Where can I find it? You may have to edit this, perhaps.
Don't worry, don't worry.
मेरे को ध्यान ही भूल गया. Just let me see what I can read.
Want to, whatever you feel comfortable with.
चलो I'll read the preface. Let me because बीच में से समझ में आ रहा मुझे भी मैंने ये रखना चाहिए.
कहीं से भी पढ़ लो आप.
Okay, I'll read an excerpt from the preface, Sunita.
Yeah.
I grew up in New Delhi and my dreams were built on the romance and jubilation in which I was brought up. I imagined my married life to be a blissful and tender as that of my parents who truly cherished and treasured each other and nurtured their four offsprings with love and warmth. They lived more as partners than as traditional Indian husband and wife. Having been raised in that environment, I acquired a unique perception of life. A woman was an equal partner in a marriage, one to be honored and valued. Marriage meant love, companionship, and caring. I couldn't fathom it being any other way. Violence of any kind in marriage was unthinkable. A woman was to be respected, period. My future husband would not share this perception. I found myself in an arranged marriage.
Kanchan, yours was an arranged marriage, and after this experience, what are your thoughts on arranged marriage? Are you for it still, or?
Yes. I have, uh, you know, a marriage is a marriage, whether it is love or arranged. According to me, it does not make a difference in what I'm observing in society. Even love marriages are breaking within 2 months, 3 months of marriage, and arranged marriages remain. I mean, in our generation, remain marriages remain forever. They would not leave each other. Like I said, the law was not protective, or even the woman was taught that now you are going to this house, the parents would say, our responsibility with you is over. We have given to that family. Now your only dead body should come out of that family. That's how
We
the
were
we
brought up.
we
Yeah.
would hear those things. So, and they survived. I mean, there were hardly any divorces in during that time. So all I'm saying here is that arranged marriage means that somehow uh, parents have their wisdom when they choose a person for you. I mean, they do not know the inside of a person. There should be more background checks done about the person if there's an arranged marriage, which parents sometimes don't do. In my case, it was not done at all. Because it was a reference from a neighbor, and we thought that it should be good. So there was no background check done. In love marriages, you are with the person for a few hours at your best. We all know that. But then living 24 hours with the same person becomes so different when the true colors come out. So I
Absolutely.
would not say love is better or arranged. It is, that
What's
concept of partnership has to be brought in.
what's the trend now in the younger, you know, you you must be close to a lot of Indians there. You must be having a group of Indian, part of the Indian community there. What is your observation about what's happening? Um,
So, Sunita, I'm not so much in touch with any Indian community here, but I
mhm,
am in touch with the, India for that matter.
right.
Uh, I would say that the rural India is still 75%. The urban India has become 25% from 5% in the last 40 years or so. So, in a way, the rural India is still into traditional way of arranged marriages, but this 25% to 30% are now getting into love marriages very commonly because of also the globalization that has happened. The all, all foreign companies are there, and there are call centers, and there are, employment opportunities. Youngsters from all over India are now piling up in those cities like New Delhi or Bangalore and Mumbai and Chennai. So they live together as per convenience, according to me. There may be love, or there could be convenience involved, because now both of them go for a night duty job, or one goes for a day duty job. So they are renting together, they are living together, they are working. And so the love marriages are becoming common. I do not know what is their divorce rate right now, because it's just started to happen.
What about the US? Do you see some changes there in the Indian community as far as reporting abuse goes, or changing
I,
the style?
I don't see any change right now. There are love marriages happening. Of course, I mean, it's very common here. There's hardly any, I mean, they're surprised when you tell them that I
Yes,
arranged marriage.
right,
It's a
yeah.
big surprise. My own children are all three of them, products of love marriages. And they're doing very well. So I really do not know. Uh, you know, like I said, that the role belief system has to change in the society if we want to continue to be partners, because still, if we have that man role belief system that men have the power and the woman does not. Today only I was attending one of the seminars with leanin.org, and they were talking about the corporate world, and they were saying that the women are still not given opportunities. They are still glass ceiling and
Mhm.
everything. So unless those role belief systems change, how can we talk about partnerships and living together and respecting each other? And the love comes with respect, right? If we don't respect each other, the love can never be there. So yeah, you know I really don't know the data about that, but
But you
that's
see
my
that it's
dogs.
not changed a lot.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to say in particular to women who are going through turmoil and do not have the courage to speak out, or do not have the courage, or do not get the assistance from society and the system?
Yeah. So, if I have to talk to the victims, I would say that they definitely need to speak up. They, before even speaking up, they have to make sure that they are safe, at a safe place. And if they think that they are not at a safe place, they definitely need to call the numbers that they need to call, because it's very important that life is so precious. And the other thing that I advise normally from safety purpose is that they should have all their documents, a set of car keys, etc., in a pouch, and that should be kept outside the house somewhere, near the garage, or in a handy place where it is hidden but it is safe for them. And if whenever they see anything that's yeah, unsafe to is going to happen, they should just run out and get the car and just run away. That's the first step they should be taking. But definitely they need to tell and share with the society, with the neighbors, with their colleagues, with their parents, with their sister, brother, that this is what they are facing, but they're trying to manage, and things like that. So that they need to do. And for the victims, I would also say that they should uh, think and visualize the freedom, how it looks like, because they think it's a normal life for me, and this is how my life is going to be. No, nobody needs to be in shackles and trapped. We are born free, we need to die free, and we need to live free. So they should be um, bold enough to visualize the freedom and then try to work towards it. It's doable. We can do it. And for the society, I would say that they should be, first of all, aware of the numbers and the gravity of the pandemic that is spread all across the world. And they should listen and just have a give a lend a holding hand to these people. They need a shoulder, they need to be listened to, they need an ear. That's all they need, and some information. So why can't we do that? We should get together and help the victims.
Thank you so much, Kanchan. It was such a pleasure talking to you.